dust in their coats. And then the last thing come down there is we're going to be, Mr. Euchre and I will, now that our place would be kind of computerized in terms of the heating and cooling, we'll get trained here in a couple weeks. They're still fine-tuning, and we get to fine-tune. Which basically means if there's changes to be made or up and down, Dave and I can control that from home or wherever, because we'll have the passwords to take care of that. So if we have a snow day, for example, him or I can obviously keep the heat down. Nobody's coming in and so forth. So that's coming up. And then the last thing is the gym doors went in, and they'll be painting those on Thursday or Friday. We haven't seen those.
Food Service Supervisor Betty Williams report.
Yeah, she just wanted to make sure I know she's still meeting with, they're going through the new USDA, all the requirements that are out there. If you haven't been reading the paper, it's pretty much non-stop about the food. So they're still working it. I mean, there's interesting comments, but it's getting done. The requirements are basically a lot less, fats that are telling and a lot less foods, and so the big issue that's coming forth right now that was at the superintendent's meeting is how does that affect the free and reduced, because they're having a lot of complaints against that, because for those kids that's oftentimes their only meal, and if they're being reduced when they're already not getting enough, is that really the right thing to do to all groups? So the governments are having fun right now, just put it that way. But Betty has done a great job of kind of been doing it over the last 2 years, getting it down proper, and does a lot of offerings. So the kids are eating well, though. I mean, our kids are great. They see the food and they eat it. I don't care what it is. They've been eating the squash and the broccoli, and a lot of them kind of made the comment, squash looks like the food I ate when I was a baby, and I said, that's exactly what it is. So it hasn't changed, and it won't. So Betty does a great job keeping them up on that.
Superintendent McNulty's report.
A few items I had. One, I just want to get these up before I forget, just so you can look at it when I go through. The MSBA conference, and skip that one, is on January 16th to the 18th. This is just the information. I know we could have a different board member or members by then, but I wanted to make that you're aware of that. I don't know if you guys get that in the mail also. I think you're supposed to, but I want to make sure you knew that. So if we do have a new board member, obviously, then we also want to make sure be talking that they have that training that happens that 16th. That's for the, any new board members go through those phase trainings. So something we require here. Another one, October 29th, Mr. Bjork, who will be the teacher union rep, myself will be attending a meeting with the MDE. There's 3 of them across the state this year because the new teacher evaluation process is going into place for next year. And so they're getting all the wrinkles out of that. So all the meetings are happening now in October, February, and April, I believe. So we'll be attending those, getting that in. We will have to open up our negotiations sometime after Mike and I get a little more on this information, because that will probably be the biggest item. But it's not going in the contract, just put it that way. That has been a very much push thing from all ends, that do not put your evaluations in the contract. Legal, everybody. But we're still going to fine-tune that because we have to get that stuff worked out. MASA conference in Brainerd. 3 main things I went up for there with. One is the principal evaluation. There was a lot of workshop sessions on that, which I'll be working with Jeremy to get those. He's very aware of this and does a lot of reading on that. We have to actually set a lot of these percentage goals for him. Again, the state's working through all that because that's something in this year. They're piloting a lot of different ones for people, but it's got to be in place here, and so we're going to get that figured out this year too and get that all in place. 2, I went up there for some stuff to bring back to Kim on the iPads and the smart boards and some new apps that Apple's going to be putting out that actually utilize iPods, iPads, and the smart boards for teachers and students. So a lot more people can go to the bring your own device thing. So hopefully be cost savings. Then they'll change it next year, but you guys know how that works. And then finally, the other stuff was on teacher evaluation stuff right there again to get for our teachers. There's 13 schools piloting that one this year too, and 2 of them are real small schools. Ogilvy is the one that's the smallest, and they're going to be working with all the other schools here come the spring on how that works out. So that is my 4 main things there. Mr. Carlson?
Okay. Your school board reports under special ed, Klitzky and Heigl, do you have anything? Community ed, Mockmeal and Radke?
No.
LPPE, Heigl, Radke?
Jeremy, did you go to their meeting tonight? I was not able to go.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a little update?
We talked, well, they're still meeting, I guess, but they're toning up money from the fundraiser that we had the last couple of weeks. The library committee is going to set up a time to meet to try to continue to progress here. Another thing that they talked about was doing the Christmas donations for teachers.
Right.
So they'll be setting that up again as well.
Are they starting their reaching for the stars, or?
And then Reach for the Stars reading. Yep. I try to forget that one because I have the pie in the face thing when they reach their goal. So.
Continue Ed, Montreal, Radke.
Nothing.
Facilities and maintenance, Radke, Montreal, Carlson. I don't have anything.
No, Phil, Brian is the main one here. He'll be back in a little bit. His wife had surgery. He is going to set up a walkthrough for the facilities committee. So Greg, Rolly, and Bob will be getting that stuff too as soon as Phil can get back from his wife's surgery. Should be happening next week.
Are all the ventilation systems, I know you guys are still working on, learning the controls and all that, but all the work is now done with
Well, they're
ventilation?
fine-tuning the controls part of it now with Johnson Controls and the SGA. That's
But
what they're trying to
everything's
get started.
installed and,
They got it all working. They're just going to try to make it work right. Let's put it that way. So we've had a couple rooms get hot, a couple rooms get cold. That's what they're figuring out. Yeah.
Tech Media, Miller Klitsky.
Well, I attended the LCTN, which is the board that does our internet and those kind of things, October 3rd. Matt, you'll need to write down that the next meeting is February 6th at Grove City. And pretty much we just went through the status of all the grants and things that are there, the financials for that. It looks like most everything is in order. They're still waiting for approval for their E-rate, and that's a big one. This is the first year we haven't had the approval by October, so he's hoping he's pretty certain it's going to come. So, something that I was supposed to remind the superintendent about, McPhail and video field trips. There's so much set aside each year for those field trips, video field trips. I think there's $10,000 that's set aside for them. If you don't schedule one, they'll take our money to be able to less than for somebody else. So you need to have something scheduled by March 1st. And it's a video field trip, and it can be anywhere in the world. So, and I think the overall use of the Codex is starting to really.
Most of those ITV classes based off that, I know.
And we're exceeding a lot of our bandwidth, even though he's added much more. ClearSea, that's a program that you can have available to you that can use some different ways to utilize more electronic devices. CLEARSEA, you should ask them about that.
Is it called the cloud for those switches?
Yeah, they're doing some stuff with that.
Yeah, they're working.
But it's going to be, some people are using it, they can get up to 100 users at any one time. And just to let you know, across the ITV system for 2012-2013, there are more classes that are offered this year than any of the last 2 years, and actually more students that are participating. Not necessarily from our school, but there certainly are overall more classes and more students. They're encouraged with what they're doing, and they start talking about some of the technology stuff about like ClearSea and all the different things that are possible.
It goes to Kim.
It was beyond me. So.
Okay. Legislative MSBA.
I haven't received anything new or exciting or interesting. Talk to you about it.
Activities Committee, Heigl and Radke. Budget and Finance. Do we have anything that we need?
When the auditors are done, which probably won't be till November, December, then we will have a meeting with Joe, and he'll come present. He's shooting to present in December for that project. We may have it move to January because of just they have more things to tie on with that.
Okay. Bus transportation.
Nothing.
Hot lunch.
Bless you.
We don't have anything. Anything with negotiations at all? McNulty.
Just a teacher one coming up this year.
Now, did we discuss our meet and confer at the last meeting? Or did we have it after that?
No, I think we had it after, yeah.
Okay.
Just got the two items there. The one was on, the flux of kids, last week of school, so we're looking, Mr. Schmidt and I will be looking at some schedule possibilities for the second semester because of our flux of sophomores this year. I think we picked about, 9 new ones up in the last week. That was the main issue, and then if there were small things that were done from here.
How about for those Spanish kids, were we able to find some help for them?
Yeah, our para position opening closes today. Mr. Schmidt and I meet tomorrow. We'll be taking a look at our applicants to see if we have fluent Spanish-speaking paras, and then try to get that in place right away for next week. So.
Okay. Because those two especially fifth grade, they have no clue.
Yeah.
Scholarship, Heigl,
Nothing?
is there anything under policy at all?
You know, a bunch of stuff coming in.
Okay. Policy Administration District student count as of 10/12/12 for K through 12 is 413 students. Do we have any in or out that we need to address tonight?
Not right now. That's just all those in open districts.
Old business, resolution determining the necessity of using bond proceeds remaining from Series 2012A bonds and calling a special election.
We just have to read that top one, and then everything else we have to fill in within. Our biggest thing will be determining the date we're going to have election. This is just calling that you want to have the election for the transferring of the funds.
Do you want me to read all of this? Or
Just the parts you want to call for the resolution, that boldish
Okay.
yellow stuff right there.
Resolution determining the necessity of using bond proceeds remaining from Series 2012A bonds and a calling of a special election thereon.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to proceed with the bond election.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion?
It's a roll call.
And then, is this what we had voted on last meeting?
No, this is, we're going to vote to, you were talking about wanting to do it. This would be that you're going to have the election, and then right after this, we got to determine the date. That's what I have to get to the planning and legal to get all that put together.
Okay. Again, any further discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Heigl?
Yes.
Mr. Radke?
Yes.
Mr. Kalinsky?
Yes.
I vote no. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mockmail?
Yes.
Okay, passes. Okay, personnel issues.
Then we got to determine the date.
The date.
Yep,
Okay.
because then I have to take care of getting everything with the state and the county. I had sent out some possibilities for dates in January for you guys to look at. Mr. Johnson also got me the schedule for the activities for that time. You're looking in January. You could do it the week of Christmas, but we're not going to. We're good. So we're looking at the openings in January, and as much as you don't like to do it Wednesday is actually the only day we have completely open where we don't have an activity when we're home, unless you want to do it on Friday night. But again, usually Friday is not a great one. So our Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays we have a couple openings in the school, but we have away games are up at HT. So you're really looking around the 16th, the 23rd, the 18th, the 25th, or the 28th as your really open days. You could do it on a Monday. On a couple of the other days, Mr. Johnson will have to confirm that, hopefully we don't have any changes, but you're going to be competing with quite a few away games on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. So January. Yeah. So you're looking at, your best open days are those Wednesdays, 16th, 23rd, and 30th, where you're not going to have any conflict. The only thing we have to do is make sure the girls and boys varsity practices or whatever up at HT, because the junior high does not have them. And the Fridays would be the same thing, unless the boys or girls are away. But we're running into conflicts pretty much every day with that.
I'd suggest January 25th.
Yeah.
And we can actually have an election on a Wednesday.
Yeah, well, you can have it any week you want there, except for obviously the weekend. And then you cannot have it on the 21st of Monday because it's Martin Luther King Day. So that is my recommendation. I also spoke with, the county and then our legal too, and that's what they suggested. Make it as most open to the people as you can because you want them there. You don't want to be